Welcome back to the Joe Mack podcast. I have a very special guest. Her name is Peggy. She has her own business entitled Headshots by Peggy. She is a professional photographer and so much more. That's what I've heard. Peggy, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Where should we start? I mean, how long have you been a professional photographer?
I have been a professional photographer since 1989, so a year or two. I started photography with film. For some of you young folks, it's this. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I used to be a high-end portrait photographer. I did families and babies and weddings and events. And, in 2008, the economy crashed. And at the exact same time, digital DSLRs became affordable for the average person. And then they decided to put a camera in everybody's cell phone. So people didn't pay what they used to pay for professional photography. So I kind of got to the point where I had to figure out, am I going to stay a photographer? Am I going to get a real estate license? Am I going to flip burgers? Or what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, you know what? Professionals still pay, still need professional headshots. So I started doing headshots, and that led me into doing entertainment headshots, which corporate headshots and entertainment headshots, totally different, as I imagine all of your audience understands.
Absolutely. Well, they might and they might not, because you're well known in the entertainment industry. I'm very familiar with your work. I've seen your interviews as well. And what makes a good headshot photographer? I mean, what makes a good headshot photographer?
Well, you have to really understand the industry, because a corporate headshot, you just want to look good. It's the same picture you want to hang up on the wall. Your grandma loves it. But an actor headshot, a talent headshot, the purpose of a headshot is to market you. It's your first impression on a casting director. That casting director is looking at 3,000 to 5,000 thumbnails on a computer screen, and you have to jump out to them as, hey, that's my attorney, or hey, that's my doctor, or hey, that's the guy next door. And all that has to happen like that. And you have this much, it's a headshot, so you have this much to portray all that. So it's really about the emotion, it's about the macro emotions, really, and being able to pull that out and really understanding that it's not your prettiest picture, it's the picture that's the most effective, that's going to get you in the door so that you can get that audition.
Perfect. Sounds good to me. Now, is that a natural ability that you have to capture that, or is that a skill that's been learned?
Well, I think it's a combination.
Okay.
Back before I became a headshot photographer, I would have actors call me up and say, hey, I need headshots. Can you do that? And my answer was always yes. And I wasn't trying to lead them astray. I honestly believed I could, because I'm a great photographer. I understand lighting. I understand posing. I understand body types, So, and every time I have an actor come in, they would say, oh, these are terrible headshots. I can't use these. And I was puzzled, because I was like, you look great. Like, what are you talking about? And then once I realized and started diving into what headshots actually are, I'm not an actor at all, but I've taken acting classes simply to understand what actors do and the psychology behind it.
Okay.
I've talked to, tons of casting directors, and hey, what do you see in a headshot? What's the draw? What catches your eye?
Okay.
And you get answers like, oh, if somebody has an orange background, I won't even look at their headshot. Or if somebody's wearing red lipstick, I won't even look at their headshot. And then the next casting director says, when I see somebody with red lipstick, I love that. So you can't be obsessed with the little things. It's not the color of the backdrop, or the color of your shirt, or the color of your lipstick. It's that emotion. It's who you are coming out into that image.
I see. Where can people find your work? Where can they see your portfolio?
I am Headshots by Peggy everywhere. I'm headshotsbypeggy.com. I'm Headshots by Peggy at Instagram. I am even Headshots by Peggy on TikTok.
Oh,
it's just for fun, though.
very good, very good, very good. Well, that's the up and coming. That's the hot thing right now.
That's what they say. There's a lot of actually really fun, talented people on TikTok. I'm not one of them, but I do have a TikTok presence.
Very good. Very good. Sounds good to me. Now, for those who are thinking about getting headshots, or, I mean, who should get headshots? And two-part question. Who should get headshots, and who's your main clientele, your demographic of clientele?
My main clientele are working actors, who I also do commercial headshots as well. But my main business is working actors.
Okay.
Now, headshots are the biggest part of your marketing strategy. I say this, if you've watched any of my vlogs, I do a weekly vlog where I talk to, industry people that are industry gurus.
Oh, yeah.
That know tons more than I do.
Oh, yeah.
But the one thing you'll hear me say in every single vlog is your headshot is the biggest part of your marketing strategy. Who needs a headshot? If you're a working actor, you need a headshot. If you are a brand new actor and you're trying to get an agent and you're trying to start submitting yourself, you need a headshot. So really, you need a headshot no matter what level you are in your career. Even actors that are very established, they still get headshots. Mm-hmm. So, you still need a headshot.
And by the way, who runs your, two-part question. Who runs your website? How did you set that up? And when did you start getting into the vlogging and interviews? And are you producing that all yourself? Is that or do you have do you have assistance with that?
I have a lady in San Diego that does my website.
Okay.
She is great. She keeps up on that. She's normally constantly bugging me for new content. Oh. So if you look at my website and you're like, wow, Peggy, it doesn't look like you've updated for a while, that's on me. Because I haven't got her new stuff.
Gotcha.
And as far as the weekly vlogs, that actually started about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And my son, who was just out of high school, said, Mom, you need a video presence. And I was like, that's ridiculous. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He says, no, you need... so I started doing a monthly video about portraits. And it was usually about 3 minutes long. And I looked like a deer in headlights. I was like horrified. And it was terrible.
Yeah.
But right away after I did that, I got a lady that called me, and she said, was talking to me, and she wanted me to do this big family reunion, which I used to do a lot of big groups when I was younger, but kind of at the point now where I kind of pick and choose what I want to do, and I didn't want to do this. And so I quoted her a price that I would have never charged. And she was like, okay. And I was like, oh, wow. Well, I take a deposit. She's like, yeah, here's my credit card. And I was like, oh, wow, this is too easy. And she said, do you want to know how I found you? And I was like, yeah, I do. She was, I saw your YouTube video. And, clearly you're top in your field, blah, blah. And I was shocked. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize the impact that video has. So fast forward to about 3 years ago, I was talking to a marketing guy, and he says, you really need to be consistent with your vlogs. And I was like, I am. I do one every month. And so he quickly told me that no, every single week. And so I started doing them every week. Yeah. And an agent actually said, hey, can I be on your vlog? And I was like, yeah. And then it just kind of snowballed. It kind of got a mind of its own. And to the point where I had to kind of pull it back. And now once a month I have a segment called The Headshot, where I actually talk about headshots, because sometimes we'll go 3 weeks in the month and not really mention headshots. We'll talk about auditioning. We'll talk about, all different things. I've had Bill Duke on, who's a director and actor, been working for years and years. I've had, just tons of amazing people that really have a lot of great information. So at least once a month, I get in there and talk about headshots. But we talk about all sorts of things, and it's something because being an actor, it's tough. You sometimes feel alone. You're like, am I the only one going through this? Am I the only one not getting auditions? Am I getting a lot of auditions? Is this normal? Is this not normal?
Right.
And
right.
How am I going to pay my bills? What am I going to do? What creative? How can I have a side job and still audition? That's a lot. So
Absolutely.
This blog kind of covers all those things and talks about basically just encouraging, inspiring, and educating you, because people, actors are creative people, and most of them I feel are like me, and their brains are like this. So sometimes it's nice to just sit down and focus and go, you know what, I'm not alone. I'm not weird. This is just how it works. So.
Well, it sounds to me like you've got the connections, you've taken the classes. What's holding you back from becoming a movie star?
I don't like being on this side of the camera. I like being behind the camera. I laugh and I say, if anything, I would do an interview show, because I didn't realize that I love interviewing people, and I actually do. But yeah, I don't really like being on this side of the camera. I have, however, because of the vlogs, it's opened the door for me to do some DP stuff. I've ran cameras. I'm excellent at lighting, so I've had the opportunity to go in and work on projects with lighting and stuff like that. So those are things that I never thought that I would do. And the only reason anybody thought of me is because of the vlog. So I'm kind of learning the video side of it as we go. But yeah, there's a lot of talented people out there that do this.
Wow. So you're kind of like a testament to the new age. It's 2020. Look, you need to have some type of online presence.
Absolutely.
To be successful in this type of industry, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to have a presence. I mean, I'm on social media. I have a few followers. I don't have, thousands and thousands of followers, but I've got, a handful of followers. I have a presence there. Facebook, I upload my vlogs to Facebook, so I think that's where most of my stuff is seen. But we're not in the film industry anymore. We're in the media industry.
Right.
Whether we like it or not, we live in the media industry, and that's where we're at.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Look at this. We're quarantined.
Yes.
We're not allowed to be, with each other, and we're doing a interview together. I mean, how cool is that?
It's pretty remarkable. It's pretty
remarkable. Pretty cool.
And, I know that the viewer is definitely getting some value out of this interaction. For those who are not in the industry, for those who are in the industry, for those who are familiar and not familiar with you and I, what else should we discuss before we wrap this up?
Well, everybody needs a professional headshot. Everybody. Okay. I mean, if you, on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, on whatever your profile, because we don't live in a day and age, especially now that we don't shake people's hands. I used to always say we don't live in a day and age where we shake hands, look each other in the eye, and say, "Hi, my name's Peggy." Your first introduction to me is my Instagram profile picture, my LinkedIn, my Facebook, whatever. That's your first introduction to me. So what do you want that to say? Do you want that to say that you're a badass? Do you want that picture to say that you're friendly, that you're approachable, that you're trustworthy? All those things are conveyed in a professional headshot, period.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Peggy, thank you so much for joining me. Once again, headshotsbypeggy.com, and also on all social media platforms, Headshots by Peggy with 2 G's.
Thanks a lot, Joey.